What I would like to talk to you about today is something called the Harmony headphone set. Now, this consists of 3 Harmony evolutions put together in a cheap headphone. A cheap headphone because you're not listening to anything. It's just a comfortable way of holding 3 Harmony evolutions on the right place. That's left ear, right ear, and fontanella. Why? Why should you do that? And there's a very good reason for this, and it has to do with the nature of the technology itself, which is all about quantum ordering through natural resonance. And all that the technology does is to take whatever informational energy is present in the system and set it back into the natural order so that the system itself can function optimally. So, this is the basics of the technology, and this is this basic thing which makes it so applicable in such a wide spectrum of applications. There are very, very few things that the Harmony technology will not improve in their function. And one of the things which it does improve is this thing here. Now, the human being lives around 95% plus from habits, learned habits. And most of your learned habits, this is about how life is. This is how I have to live. They're learned between conception and about 6-7 years of age. Actually, in a lot of highly knowledgeable teachings, including the Jesuits, would you believe? They say, give me the boy till he be 7, and I give you the man. Because it's in this time that the basic assumptions about life are programmed. Wonderful in itself, because this frees the attention to do something else. It's like, you learn as a toddler how to walk, and then you program that in the automatic pilot, and then you never think about it again until you learn an Alexander teacher who makes you think about it again and do it properly. But there are lots and lots of other things that you will have literally millions and millions of habits hot-wired into your brain. And a habit is just a connection, it's a chain of synapses which hold a particular program. So along comes the stimulus, the program fires, you react, and then you say, what happened here? Everybody else has seen it, but you haven't, because your attention is much too slow to notice your habits. You notice the effect, but you don't notice the habit itself. A large proportion of the habits are extremely useful. For example, the fact that you can make sense from these noises that I'm making with my vocal cords is all learned habits. So when, for example, I say a jug of beer, you probably have a pot of beer immediately appear before your inner eye. If, however, I say yksi litra olut, what sort of picture do you get then? Well, probably nothing at all, unless you've learnt the Finnish language habits. Then you would have the same jug of beer in front of your inner eye. As I say, it's just all learned habits. The problem is that we have a lot of learned habits which are not very useful, and some of them are extremely destructive. And for example, I'm not good enough. I've always got to perform. I've always got to be better than everyone else, otherwise I won't be loved, nobody loves me, I'm not good enough to be loved, etc., ad nauseum. The beautiful thing from the point of view of the Harmony technology is that the useful habits are system resonant. That means that these habits work in support of the entire system. They work with the system together to make life easier, to make life better. The destructive habits are what we call system dissonant. That is, they are constantly fighting against the system, the human being, in order to create something that, well, you don't want. Poverty, debt, being alone, etc., etc. All these things, they're all learned habits. Now, you take a Harmony headphone, and what have you got? You've got 3 Harmony evolutions. Well, they're just held with the cushioning. So when you're not working with the headphone, they're free to use somewhere else. Now this one at the top, I've glued in with sellotape or Scotch tape if you're in America. But you don't need to, because once you've got the headphone on, you can simply just slip the 3rd one under the bow, and you've got them all in the right place. So what is this going to do? It fills your brain with ordered energy, with ordered information. Now, the useful habits, those that work together with your being, they need ordered energy to function properly. The destructive habits, the dissonant habits, they need chaotic energy in order to fight against your being. You've got a head full of ordered energy. What happens? These destructive habits literally starve. The synaptic chains that have hot-wired them, the chains break. And that habit is completely removed from your life. It's not pushed away somewhere else to bite you later on. It no longer exists. The synaptic chain in your brain which was holding it is no longer there. So the habit no longer exists. And that's what you get with the Harmony headset. You get the removal of that which has been making your life less than you would like it to be. It's a common phenomenon that it pays for itself in a very short time as you become more and more efficient and less self-destructive. It's what I experienced, and it's what thousands of other people have experienced. I was actually given the first one of these as a Christmas present from Joachim Wagner, the man who invented the technology, in 2004. Now, okay, it did take me 7 months to work out what I'm supposed to do with them. But after that, it was absolutely amazing. Over a period of a few months, my life changed completely. See, I'm someone that's always had lots and lots and lots of ideas. But because of the destructive programming, primarily from my mother, I would almost never put any of them into effect. After about 4 months, that stopped. I've got an idea. I try it. And that's why I no longer live a hand-to-mouth existence. Why should you? Okay. Thank you. Namaste. There is also a slight variation on this. This is done with the 3 harmony evolutions. Now, the harmony pendants, the processors are identical, but of course they're a little bit smaller. Now, this is what's called the Harmony Headphone Partner Set, where you and your partner want to wear a harmony pendant throughout the day, probably on your thymus gland or your heart chakra. And then, one after the other, work with the harmony headset in the evening. Very easy. A harmony headphone partner set has 2 harmony pendants and 1 harmony evolution. So all you need to do to make this work is to get a headset with smaller earpieces so that the pendant fits better into the headphone. As you see, it's not the same shape, not quite the same size as the evolution. Now, you may wish to know more on this topic of how habit circuits and the human brain works and how we interact with our environment, the world that we create, we perceive. And there are 2 things that two sources that I would recommend to you. The one is a beautiful film called What the Bleep Do We Know? Here's the website where you can order the DVD. This gives the original version, which is about 1 hour and 40 minutes, and the extended version further down the rabbit hole, which is 5 DVD sets. I got both. I started with the short one, and then I bought the big one. And the other thing that I recommend to you is a DVD from Professor Bruce Lipton. That's his website here. And this is a DVD called Nature or Nurture. Explains in very great detail exactly how the childhood programming comes to be. So then the only other thing you need to know is, where do you get your Harmony headphone set? And that's here.